Okay, so I made a quick video about the moon not coming out. I deleted it because it finally did, thank God. But that's not the point of this video. I want to talk to those that are probably what we would call way showers, meaning that you started your ascension journey probably back in 2020. And as you know, the whole world is beginning to wake up, it's like going in waves, right? But some of us woke up maybe a long time ago. Some of us have been very awake for a long time. And there is this underlying, undeniable feeling for those that have been going through this for some time, for years now. And the feeling that I've been feeling, and I thought it was just myself until I had other, and hear me out, okay? I read a lot of people, but it doesn't mean that everyone's on the same level, okay? And I'm not trying to dissuade anybody. Everybody's at their own pace as their soul provides. So you cannot make something happen faster or sooner or later. Even though time is linear, we're all progressing in the now at the stage that we can. But I'm speaking specifically to the ascenders that have been feeling in this awaiting time. Awaiting, not waiting, awaiting. Because I would say for myself around October-ish, the days started feeling like they were meshing into each other. I personally feel that when it comes to stress or anything that I need in life from my divisibles, like money, connections, time, they're all afforded at this point. I live truly a very melancholy existence. And for those of us that have been doing the work, for those of us, we have come to, I wouldn't say the word is a plateau, but we've come to a point where our days are meshing into each other. And it's like we're sitting on a bench, like players in a game, awaiting the time that we get to come in the game. And what I mean by that, another feeling, it may feel like as if you're a soldier who's awaiting the draft to go into battle or whatever the case may be. I'm giving examples of what this feeling is like because I personally thought it was just myself. Like, I felt like in a way God was putting us all through testing and trials all through these years. And then there came a point when my son, and this is just for myself, but please relate in your own way, okay? You don't just have to stop at the 5D in terms of consciousness, okay? Some of us have moved from 3 to 5. We're already there. And that's what I mean about the manifestation coming. We're not kind of bogged down by the 3D like mentality. And a couple of decipherables are this. You've eradicated all the bad persons in your life. You don't have anyone pulling on you anymore. You're kind of a lone wolf. That's another one. And you're not lonely. You're just alone in the sense that unless you're privy to your own tribe, my tribe is all over the world right now. Like there's people that I have in the States, New Zealand. I have some in Europe. I have some in different parts of Canada. And somehow we have come in commune some way, somehow. I resonate with them. Just like you, if you are a way shower, your people may not just be in your cluster, in your neighborhood, or in your own city. They could be anywhere in the world. They gravitate towards you and you gravitate towards them. There's no rhyme or reason, but like, what's that saying? When water reaches its own level, you know what I mean? It just reaches its own level. So there are those that have just woken up within this year or last year. And like I said, they're still going through the processes that we as the way showers had already gone through, meaning that they are still getting through their battles, let's say with narcissists, and finally coming out of those relationships. There is still cutting cords of all the negative people, and that means family, work, and whatever the case may be, or even any attachment to 3D. And this is what I mean. There's a difference between those that have superseded the 3D, because like most of the people that I connect with, we are now at a stage where we don't work a 9 to 5. We are in our full purpose and have been in our purpose, making money in our purpose. You know what I mean? Like, yes, that is a 3D tangible, but let's work it in the words of abundance. Abundance comes in any form of energy exchange, right? And we don't really want for much, in the sense that there might also be a understanding that you are not, if you are in a relationship, it might be closing out or has closed out, and you might be even celibate or not dating because, like I said, that water's not reaching. It's like you'll go out and no one really jives. And it's not because you can't truly see yourself or be the self you were before, and you've come past the threshold point that you can't even go back in time. I'm not talking about those people, those that have just come to this awakening part. Bravo. It's not easy what you're going through. What's really taking place is you, by doing all this cutting, Okay, it's so that you learn things like discernment, because God's giving you the gift of discernment so that you can see what's real and what's fake in the world and in yourself. And a lot of you may notice this, that even when it comes to cutting people, places or things, it's gotten a lot easier. You might have spent 30, 40, 10, 20 years being very attached to persons, and then when you shifted past the threshold, it's like you didn't align, you didn't see eye to eye, and once you couldn't see eye to eye, it wasn't like you were mad at them or angry. You love them and you let them go with grace and peace. And you love them from afar, but there's no like intertwined, intermingled feelings of negative thought formed feelings at all. You're just like, no, we don't mesh anymore. And you've come to that clarity, that concise determination of putting up your boundaries. And discernment is one of the first gifts you get when you are coming on to your journey. That's probably the first year. You have to understand this takes years, this integration, because you're fighting through that change of who you were before and who you're walking into. Now, some of us have already walked into this for several years now. And these are the persons that I'm kind of, pointing to. Because we've not only done the walkaways, getting rid of the narcissists, the sociopaths, whoever they were in our lives to teach us, because if you've got into the emotional stabilization, meaning you've integrated your emotional body, meaning you have come to terms with forgiving yourself, forgiving others, you have walked certain trials and tribulations with the Lord, you have figured out what is for you, what is not for you. And as you integrate that emotional body, you've gone through a lot of trauma healing, because you've gone through probably your past traumas and you've worked through all of those. Or are working through those, meaning that you're going back in time in your mind, bringing yourself even in a form of, let's say, out of body responses or meditative states where you go back to those traumatic points and you look at it from a third person viewer and you start to correct those broken links in your chain. Okay, and when you've done that, you'll notice that you acclimate. You're starting to not have all the egoic ties, and that's what I mean about the dating and sex, drugs, rock and roll. All that starts to fall away. And trust me, usually a lot of us, from what I've noticed, those that we were ones that naturally, when we were younger, always broke bounds. We did the bad things because we wanted to see the 0 to 100 lifestyle in some degree. And I'm speaking to this because we weren't people that were already in cookie cutter situations. And we might have fallen into it to a degree, depending on your level of matrices that you allowed yourself to be in. But as you did this integration, you started to forgive all those parts, those bad parts, and those wrongdoings, and the guilt and the shame, and all those negative things within yourself. Heal them all. And that's what I mean by an emotional body integration. You no longer are that person anymore, because you've stepped into the new, evolved person that you are. And with that, if you have been in this feeling for some time, that you have elevated in your frequency. For myself, like I said, with my son, when he was in the hospital, I knew, because I am a channeler too, I do speak to the higher aspects of the oversoul. Okay, we do all have one. They are aspects of you. It is still you. I was signaled to the fact that I had stepped into 7D, meaning that is the first level of where you would probably find the lower density angels, meaning any angel can go up and rise to 9 to 12, but they can always come down to 7 to be at the closest ratio of vibrational capacity to then integrate communication with those in the 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. There are different entities within the 7. I don't want to confuse everyone, but some of us have surpassed the 5, which is the melancholy place of manifestation, and your life starts to become very dreamlike. Like, you don't live in the processes that you did for most of your life. Things that you need or want are readily available. That's usually what 5 is. However, some of us have risen past the 5 to 7 to higher limits, whatever the case may be, or working within that consciousness all the time. The reason why I'm talking about this is because for myself, like I said in October, since I have felt in this, I'm not going to call it stagnation, that's not what it is. As you go through your ascension processes, you'll notice as you're doing all these integrations, you always feel like you're peeling a light layer of an onion, and then you're seeing a part of yourself that you never knew you had before, but it also feels like you've been this person all along. It's like you're looping back to you. Okay, you're getting stronger in your you body, if that can make sense. So you always feel like you're getting somewhere, to a next level, to a next level, to a next level. Some of us did all that peeling. I'm not saying that we never stop learning and growing and we can't peel some more. Trust me, we can peel some more. Granted. But then there comes this plateau state that I feel like a lot of us have been at, where we started awaiting. So it's like we've done the integration, the mental integration. We're no longer bogged down by the ego. We don't live for the ego anymore. We live for our higher self. We are always working with our higher self, whichever degree that is, okay? And then we're moving and shaking. We don't usually have the same jobs. We don't even have the same callings anymore. We're like totally different people. And then at the same time, when we look back or try to look back, you can't even really remember who you were or understand the person that you were. It just doesn't correlate. It doesn't make sense anymore. So a lot of things start to fall away to the point when you're in this like up leveling, right? Or the shedding, or that's the best way I could say. And then there comes a point where you just kind of like plateau. And I'm not saying that there isn't more growth, but what I'm saying is that a lot of us are at this awaiting point, like as if God put us on a bicycle with training wheels. And God took us through all these different stages to get us to learn how to ride our bikes with the training wheels. And we've never been on a bike before. We never knew we could ride a bike. And then we're on this bike and we're learning about how to ride a bike with the training wheels. Then there comes the next stage where God takes one of the wheels off, and then you're learning how to ride the bike with the one wheel. Okay, this is the best analogy I can give. Then God takes off the other wheel and you're actually riding the bike. However, God's saying to you, no, little one, you can only do this perimeter. In this perimeter, like let's say it's your city block. I'm just giving an example. So you've been doing the city block run over and over and over again. It's like as if you're saying, hey, Dad, you know, when can I go and take a real trip? When can I do a 20K bike ride? And I think I'm ready for this. I've been training for it. I'm ready for this. This is what I mean about the awaiters. It's like we've already been riding our bike around the neighborhood a little too much. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, in a sense, yes, we haven't evolved to the highest capacity, but there comes a time in everyone's life where, in a sense, even as a parent, you throw your little duckling in the water to see if they can swim. That's the feeling that I feel like most of us on this soul journey are feeling. Like we want to get in the game. We want to get drafted. We want to, you know, get off the bench. It's kind of like a feeling like that. And it's like for the last months, I've been feeling like this. And if you have too, please write it in the comments. It's like we don't really have a, you know, ding what it is, but we feel it inside. And I wouldn't be talking about this because I thought I was alone in this. But then when I reached out and had others reach out to me to ask what was going on, they too similarly felt the exact same like Groundhog Day thing where they're like, oh, I'm still riding my bike around my neighborhood over and over and over again, and I want to do the marathon. And there's this feeling of this awaiting that we are in currently, whereas those that are in different waves are still, you know, finding their layers and peeling them off, and that's totally cool. Trust me, if you have any questions about what the peeling is like, it is not easy. The peeling is you coming back to yourself, learning more and more about who you are. But once you get to a point where you're the same person, no matter what the scenario is, wherever you are, it's like you're going to get tested over and over about this. You're going to be put through a lot of different ringers, put it that way. And for those of us that are already on this other side of the awaiting, it's like as if we've done all the training and we're like, what's happening now? Why do I feel like there isn't a next level coming yet? We're like anxious inside to a degree, and it's not a bad anxiousness. It's like a I'm ready anxiousness. So I wanted to talk about this because I had a couple people come to me, and then it was so crazy, amazing. When I was at the last psychic show, I met a woman who, minute I met her, I was like, I know you. You know, I love that. And we instantly clicked. I knew out of all the people I met, even though they were all in the esoteric field, I knew that she was next level. I knew that she was somebody, and she saw that automatically in me. The things she told me about myself were dead on. Like things like that I had been talking to God since I was a kid, which was dead on. She was like, you know that you're here to do more. And I was like, dead on. And then she's like, you've been working in 7D for some time now. And it was dead on. How she would know that is only if she's talking to the same people I'm talking to. Just saying. And we don't know each other, but it was like when I met her, I instantaneously gravitated. And that's what I mean about the water leveling. It doesn't matter if you know the person. It's like you automatically click like two pieces of a puzzle. And that's the tribe thing. It doesn't matter where she lives, 18 hours outside of where I live in Canada. However, ironically, one of my good friends that showed up right at that moment, ironically, right? He could have come any day of the event, and when he stepped forward, she was like, oh my gosh, she's like, he's the other piece of this puzzle. And she's like, obviously, me meeting you had to lead me to him too, because he's part of my tribe as well. And we all have different faculties, we all have different strengths, we all have different capabilities. So in a sense, I know that this puzzle is coming together, but we're still in an awaiting place. And that's the thing. When I spoke with my boy, he said the same thing. When I spoke with her, she was asking me if I've been in this, like, you know, bicycle wheel situation, you know, wanting to go on the marathon. And I'm like, yeah, it's been some time now that I've just been sitting on the bench. And then I had another of my tribe's people come out. I haven't talked to her in several months, but she lives out in Tennessee. And she came to me and she was like, Ash, I need your help. Like, I need to tap in. She's like, something's going down. She's like, I feel like she's like, I've done all the clearings. I've done everything I could possibly do. I'm discerning like crazy. She's like, I can't even like click with anybody. I don't get along with anybody. Not that we're mean, not that we're not nice people. It's just that we just aren't on the same level. It's just what it is. And when we can talk to each other on the same frequency, the same radio station, we click. That's it. It's like we could talk about, it's like we're talking the same language. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter where we are in the world. And we're all talking the same language. So when she came to me, she was the 5th now. Like, the other 2 was just recently, and then there was a couple more. And I kind of felt like, okay, we're in this stage of awaiting, not waiting, awaiting. It's like we know something's coming, something big, but we're not supposed to know what it is, and all the pieces of the puzzle are still coming together, because God doesn't work on our time. God doesn't work on let's be fast, because that's the thing. Like I said, God put us on the bike with the training wheels, and piece by piece. And that's what I mean about the whole world right now, waking up. It's going to take time, because those other waves have to, you know, they're going to be faster, because they have some of us to ask, you know, help for. And there's so many videos now. Like, when we were first going through it and making our videos about, like, oh shit, like narcissists, trust me, there was a narcissist epidemic about like 2-3 years ago. And then, not that there aren't videos now about it, but I'm saying it's desisted a bit, because all that wave went through that. And now there's so many emotional body integrative videos coming to help people learn how to, you know, get through those nitty gritty feelings and traumas, shadow work, etc. So it's like we made all these videos, so it's kind of like a catalog for everybody else, so that we didn't have the catalog per se. It was like the blind leading the blind. Like, this happened to you, oh cool, this is happening to me. And we're kind of like piggybacking, or like, you know, when 2 people try to go up a wall and like put their backs, that's kind of what was happening, right? It's like we were both kind of like leaning on each other to figure it out. But now this new wave, and I'm not saying that it's easier now, because the world's getting more chaotic. When it happened for our wave, it wasn't as chaotic, and we had more of a time. And I think it's because we had to go through it like a very organic way, whereas these guys are going through like the summer school version. Okay, but they have all the aid and all the teachers possible to help them get through the summer school. It's like we now have all of the tools, all of the structure, and all of the schooling available for them to get through the summer school version. So they'll integrate hopefully faster than we did, trying to blind leading the blind, you know. But for those that have been awaiting, I just want to say this: we're in the same boat, and you're not alone. Very lonely time, because even those that are ascending, you've realized that there's like a certain part of you that get it. Like, let's say, for example, all the ascenders, or all the people that are, you know, coming or have come on, the integrators that have, let's say, if this was a classroom, right, of like millions of ascenders, there's always going to be ones that might have done the work faster or acclimated faster, and it's like those are the ones on the frequency, all on the same frequency. So I'm not trying to say anything's better or worse, or I'm sure there's ones higher than me. That's not the point. I'm saying for the ones that I'm reaching out to, if this video found you, maybe you're awaiting too. And if you're thinking that it's awaiting the Messiah or waiting for the biblical stuff, or it could be, but what I'm trying to say is that it could be anything at this point. We don't know what our soul came here to do. All I know is that when I met that woman and she was like, you're on a mastery incarnation, that was another thing she said to me that I knew for some time, because I kept seeing the number 33 everywhere. And as anyone knows, who follows anything, you know, Jesus started his ministry at 33. The Masons have their highest ranking at 33. Even certain other avatars started their start off point at 33. 33 is a very interesting number. So if you've been seeing the number 33 for some time, hit me up in the comments. But what that means is that some of us have gone through lifetime after lifetime after lifetime lifetime to be who we are, to have learned as much as we have at this point for this period of time, which is all fluid. However, we had to do all these revolutions of soul evolution, die, come back, die, come back. So in my books, I think this is my 32nd time, but because I ascended within the 32nd lifetime, I'm now able to move to the 33, because a lot of us feel and know it's like as if we shed our old life, so much so that's what Jesus meant about the resurrection. Okay, when he resurrected, it wasn't just to say like he got up and started walking around. He was trying to show that a lot of us can resurrect within our own lives. That's why when people say like they're born again Christians, right, it's the actual change over to where you start a brand new life. You're still in the same body. You still are living in the world you're living in. However, you are not the you've always been. And it's very, symptomatic of that. So what I'm saying is that if you also have had this situation, please hit me up. Or if you feel like this is your master incarnation, please. If you have no clue what I'm talking about, then just dismiss me. But if you know what I'm talking about, then hit me up. But for those that are feeling the other way about this awaiting, hit me up equally. Let's talk about it, because we all have little pieces to the puzzle. So if the more we can all unite and talk about it, the better it'll be. Maybe you're at the emotional body configuration and you're like, what is going on? Hit me up. I can help you, guide you with that, because I wish somebody had guided me other than not for nothing, Masters and God and everyone else will guide you through your life. The only course you can ever take is life. Like if you could go to all the self-help whatevers you want, but it ain't going to happen unless you clue in. The moment happens for you in your life, the situationals that you face. So you can't speed it up. But what I can say about trauma work, sometimes the more time you spend realizing, writing down all the things, all the hurts, all the pains, all the things that could be from parents, from old friends, from new friends, to the faster you can integrate that body, the faster you get to the next level. You could be at the stage where you're just waking up, and what that's like is like as if somebody turned a big light on you, like the police are shining a light on you, and you're just like a newborn chick coming out of the shell. You're like, what the fuck is going on here? All this time I've been living this way, and now I can't live this way anymore. That's just the beginning, the plucking of the self that's coming out. So it doesn't matter which stage you're at. Hit me up. I'm down to help, guide, do whatever. And if you're somebody who's already hit the 33 for time and you are already elevated to more, please chime in and talk about your situations, because we're all here to help each other. That's the whole point of this. It's better to connect than to divide. Dividing is never going to get us anywhere as human beings, because realistically, division is what's keeping us from getting to what we truly want in this world. So we are interconnected. We are in this huge consciousness. And when I say I'm a channeler, do you think like, yes, I can tap into anyone's Akashic? Why? Why can I tap in? Not only was I given the gift, but that's not the point. The point is that we're all interconnected. We are all reflections of each other. So you are me and I am you, and everyone else is a reflection of you. That's why I can tap into someone's consciousness and then see myself in them. And everyone can do this, but I'm not trying to teach you how to do that today. What I'm trying to say is that it's about belief. It's about breaking out of the matrices, finding your path, finding your way, following what God and the masters and your guides are trying to guide you to, breaking the barriers, finding the faith in yourself to jump hoops out of what you're currently in. Because trust me, by the time you've gotten through all this, you're probably working for yourself, working with your gifts, finding that abundance isn't as complicated as it needs to be, because God gave us all what we need on this planet. We just have to resonate at the right frequency like the animals do and just know that it's ours. It's all there for us. And I'm just saying, it just depends on where you are on this trajectory. So if you're awaiting, I'm awaiting too. But I feel like the fact that all of my tribe is talking about this awaiting thing means that there's a reverberation in the energy. That means that everyone that is on the same frequency as myself, or the same, let's say water meeting the same level point, is feeling this too. And it can't be a coinky dink, because I don't believe in them things. It doesn't exist in my world. So peace. Let's talk. Bye for now.